Today we're going to learn how to portion salmon. What's interesting about the salmon is that it can come in one of two different ways. So these are the two salmons that we get. So briefly, they're all pre-cut, but you'll notice that these are pre-cut in equal size slices, and this one is pre-cut in slices that more closely follow the line of the fish. So they're really small here, and they go up here, and they go down there. So what we want to do is open up these packs and then portion them into 1.5 ounce portions. And if you forget the number of portions, remember you can find that on the par sheet. And once we get them divided, then we're going to wrap them out flat so they can be put on the bagel and cover the whole bagel. Because remember, if you clump them up when you package them and freeze them that way, you're going to be in trouble when you go to make sandwiches with them. So we're going to open this package, so hold on 2 seconds. Alrighty, so here's the first one right here. This stuff is really fragile, so you want to be really careful when you pull it apart. You want to get on the end where the layers stick together, and usually 1.5 will do with this, but we're going to double check our weight over here. Remember to set that right there, put a little tissue down and give it away, and you want 1.5 ounces. So that's 1 ounce, so we're going to be able to put just a little bit more on. So we're going to grab a little bit more like that, and now we're at 1.5 ounces. So that's 1.5 ounces right there. So you want to portion the whole thing. So once you know that 3 slices will do it for this, you can pretty much go through, and here's a little divider that will bring off half of them right here. So if you know that 3 of them are going to do it, then you can just really carefully pull off 3 like that, and there's 1.5 ounces right there. So just go through the whole thing really quickly and divide it, and then when you've divided it, see, they're all 1.5 ounces. Once you've divided it, then we're going to wrap them. And what's important about wrapping them is not to have them all stacked up. These aren't as bad, but when you wrap these, you want to have them spread out so you can put them right on the top of a bagel and they'll cover the whole thing like that. And what's happened sometimes is this right here is going to be 1.5 ounces. That's a little bit too much. So down at the bottom and the thick end, 4 slices will generally do it. And then as you get closer to the center, it's 3. So that's 1.5 ounces right there. And what will happen sometimes is that this will get wrapped like this. And then when you take it out of the freezer and you go to make a sandwich with it, there's like 9 layers thick right there, and it won't thaw all the way. So these have to be laid out like this before they're frozen. So just be really careful with this stuff, because it's really fragile, and get it about how much would cover a bagel like that. So we're just going to wrap that just like that, wrap this just like this, and throw them in the freezer. And then when you want to make a sandwich, you just pull one out, unwrap it, throw it onto the bagel, and make the sandwich according to the rest of the recipe. So these, once these are done portioned, you want to do the same thing, and just remember this stuff is fragile. So be really careful when you lay it out. But just lay out all 3 like that. So it's going to fill the top of a bagel, and then wrap that with saran wrap. And then when all these are wrapped, just throw them in the freezer, and that's all there is to it. So to jump ahead a little bit, we're going to go to the center right here. Remember, it took 4 at the end. And here's 3 right here. And you'll see 3 is 1.5 ounces perfectly right there. So when you get to the center, it's 3, and when you get to the edges, it's 4, and the very edges might be 5. And remember, do not freeze it like this. This is critically important. Do not freeze them like that. Just very gently separate them apart into little tiny pieces like that. You got to be careful with this because this stuff is really fragile and it rips easily. So once you get it all laid out like that, then that can be wrapped and frozen. Okay, so just get a little bit of this paper, put this right in the center of it, cut that off like that, and then just go across super flat like that, tuck it under the sides, And that is all there is to it. So you're gonna have a bunch of little things like that, squish the air out if there is any. It doesn't matter that there's many layers on top because customers aren't gonna see it. And then once you're done, put them in the freezer flat like this so they freeze flat. And that's all there is to it. You'll be done before you know it. It takes about 5 minutes to portion and wrap one salmon fillet. Alrighty, thanks for watching.